for your dog, not for you.
A sick pet wounds a friendship.
How much money did she pay for tests for your dog?
She donated money for a test.
I did not donate.
And a dog owner unleashes confusion.
I will get you the money.
That's not for my phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, here's what I do know.
No, just a second.
Can I show you a picture of the dog?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Karen Gallagher is suing her former friend, Paula Von Trias, for an...
It's case number 82 on the calendar, the matter of Gallagher versus Von Trias.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Gallagher, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for a loan that you made to her for tests for an elderly dog that she had.
Correct.
Unfortunately, the dog, despite the fact that it had the tests, passed away. And you want your money.
Yes, I do.
The defendant says it was never a loan, and because no good deed goes unpunished, the defendant is countersuing for $5,000 because she says that you harassed her and defamed her. Okay. What?
She threatened my life additionally. I took in June, where I took her to a vet and paid for all her expenses. I had her on a proactive, healthy plan, and
Did Miss Gallagher give you money for tests for your dog, or did she pay for tests for your dog?
She did not give me any money.
Listen to me carefully. Listen to my words. Did Miss Gallagher give you any money, or did she pay for tests for your dog? That was my question. That's either a yes or a no.
No.
So she did not pay for any tests
I
for your
have
dog.
that
She
feeling.
donated money for a test.
I did not donate.
Just don't answer her. Your dog, your tests. Now, how much money did she pay for tests for your dog?
I believe it was over $400.
She didn't live with you.
No.
So somehow she had to know that your dog needed tests because Karnak is no longer with us. You remember Karnak?
Danny Carson.
Right. And she doesn't look like she has a crystal ball or a Ouija board, so that somebody had to tell her that your dog needed tests.
I have
That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, it
Who
is.
told her?
I told her.
In a conversation on the phone or in person?
In person.
Stop. I'm not talking to you. On the phone or in person?
In person, I have a picture of it. Picture of her passed out in my house with my dog now at her feet, and that's when she learned about the test.
No, to me about the conversation you had for the first time with a plaintiff about your dog's test and the fact that you didn't either have insurance or the money to pay for it. Go. What date?
On December 31st, I called Karen.
Good. That's a start. On December 31st,
December
you called... Don't interrupt.
Okay.
On December 31st, you called Karen and said...
I have to figure out how to get Kenzie tested because the prearrangement that I made for her to be paid by my insurance that was paid fell apart.
So you called her and said, I have to figure out a way how to pay for Kenzie's tests.
That was it. Call me back. I go, okay. So I called. They said yes. I called Karen back. I said, yes, they do. She goes, give me the number. And that was it. That was it. And so a half hour later, I called down to the vet, and I said, did someone call about Kenzie at all? And she says, yeah, you're all set. Come on in. You want to make an appointment? I go, okay, thank you. That's what happened. There was no loan. I didn't have her credit card. She never gave me any money. There's no loan.
No, I'm not asking you whether she gave you money. I asked you at the beginning, did she either give you money or pay for tests for your dog? And the answer is yes, she paid for tests for my dog. And you say you picked up the
It was
phone
always
and you
the
called
loan.
just
Always
the money.
No, I did not.
Yeah, of course you did.
No.
Of course you did.
No, I did not.
Of course you did. You didn't call your butcher.
Excuse me,
You
I
didn't
did
call
not.
a grocer. You
Judge-
didn't call
Judge
AT&T.
Judy.
You didn't call Geico.
Judge
You
Judy.
called her.
No,
Listen to me.
I
Listen to me. You called her and said, I don't know how I'm going to figure out how to pay for Kenzie's tests at the vet because because the insurance didn't. I understand. I get it. It's really a question of responsibility. It's your dog. You're a grown woman.
True.
You're a grown woman. You should be able to take care of your own dog.
And I did.
No, you didn't. She did.
No, she did
Back-
not.
She did $481 worth.
I have a witness here that she said
Was not
on the phone, she said before I got off the phone with her. She said...
I was at her house.
I don't want you to speak.
Okay.
On December 31st, I was in my house. She was in her house. That's the fact. The other issue, she said, this is my cause. This is what I do. I donate to dogs. I love Kenzie. That was part of the call that I had with her when I first told her I was baffled why the insurance didn't get handled. And when I know 2 days later after the test, the lady who was handling it committed suicide.
Did anybody else help contribute to your dog's health care?
I did.
No,
for everything. No.
Other than you?
No.
Other than you
No.
and the plaintiff, did anybody else contribute?
Test, the vet couldn't figure out why my
Don't
dog...
tell me what the vet couldn't figure
Okay,
out.
okay, the
I'm
vet-
not interested in
right.
hearsay. I'm only interested in this. So what you're telling me is Miss Gallagher was the only person, other than you, who took care of your dog.
She didn't take care of my dog.
Well, she did. She took care of $481 worth of bills.
Minus $60 that I paid that was applied to that bill.
So what?
But there was more tests after that. That first vet told me my dog needed an ultrasound. So I had to go I called the pound to ask for referrals because I didn't get any. And I got 3 referrals. So I found another vet who works with the nonprofits. She's at a nonprofit. She works and she agreed to take my insurance. And very, very sick. And she was 5 years old and 11 months. And she was taken care of well by the second vet.
Miss Ventrace, it's just a question of whether you're going to pay for your own dog or she's going to pay for your own dog. Now, I'd like you to tell me your version of the conversation that you had with the defendant when you found out that her dog needed these tests.
It was the night of December the 30th. I actually went over to her house, and we were discussing it, and she started crying, and she's saying that she's broke and she can't afford it. She needed the test done the next day, the 31st. So it's on my credit card. I called the next day.
What I want to hear is the conversation that I believe.
I said, Paula, you know that I never... 2 things I don't do in life. I don't do it for your dog, not for you.
This is not true.
I don't want to hear you.
Okay. Just letting you know.
This is true. It's totally true.
Let's go back.
So I went home. I told her, I said, look, I said, if I do this...
It goes against my better judgment.
To do this, because...
It goes against my better judgment.
I know that it creates difficulties and issues with people when money becomes between friends. So the next morning she called me. She goes, I'm going to bring Kenzie in. She goes, are you still going to do what you're going to do? And
That's
I said,
not true,
what?
Sir.
It is totally...
What part of I don't want to hear you
Sure.
now?
I'm sorry.
Didn't you understand?
I did understand.
Well, you didn't understand the first time or the second. I yelled at her the same way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So the next morning she called and...
Do what you said you were going to do, and...
Meaning pay for Kenzie's test so I can take her into the vet.
And?
So I said, I'm on my way out the door. I said, how about if I just use my credit card over the phone? And she goes, oh, will they do that? I said, who wouldn't do that? And so I called the VCA and I paid it over the phone with my credit card. And then she called me back that afternoon and was all happy. It was December the 31st. We did see each other that night. The credit card charge hit my bill on January the 2nd because of the holiday. So she said she'd repay me, but she would back it up with the insurance check, which she was going to expedite. Now, I did research, and I know that pet insurance companies pay their claims within 10 days, 20 days top, pay me anything.
When for the first time did you ask her for the money?
I asked her several times over the phone, and then I have a couple of texts here.
I'd like to see the text.
Okay.
Well, the dog died in February?
February 17th in my arms.
On the 29th of January, she says, you need to pay me back. And you said, I will when I get the money. Are you okay?
That's not from my phone.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, here's what I do know.
No, just a second.
Can I show you a picture of the dog?
I don't care to see the
Okay.
dog. I'm telling you, all of this is in January. Well,
I
show
have
me.
text from her that's a...
Just all you...
I have
if
many
you-
texts from her to explain the storyline. Thank you. Okay.
All I can tell you is you said to her when she said, you need to pay me back, and that was a month later, you said to her, I will when I get the money. Are you okay?
I have a phone and I have text, and that's not on my phone. I'm sorry.
It's on my phone.
But what I do know, in the beginning, there was no loan.
$481. That's
Always
who she
loan.
owes you. Let us go to.
I actually have...
Let us go to.
Excuse
let
me.
us go
I
to.
have witnesses here that they can prove it's a donation. This is Arlene. Could she speak?
Do you want to see the
was-
text? Do you want to see it before you
But-
testify? Do you
Sure.
want to see it? I would like to.
But Judge words. And she said to me, Paula, I love Kenzie. You don't have to pay me any money. It's a gift. It's a gift.
$481.
And she's
Let
a
us go.
witness to it because she said it to her as well.
Let's move on.
I'm sorry.
Let's move on.
I have a witness here,
Your
man.
You already have the insurance
Listen,
money by
do you want me to hear any part of your counterclaim, or do you want me to just throw you
Can my
out?
witness speak because she came up for it, please?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I mean, there has to be a reason why somebody is moving out after they spend the time to move in, spend 2 days moving in, and in less than 15 days, she says, you're miserable. I'm moving out. Why do you think that she did that, Mr. Butcher?
Judge Judy.
Karen Gallagher says her former friend, Paula Von Triez, owes for a loan to pay a vet bill. Paula is countersuing for threats, harassment, and defamation of character.
What I'm telling you is on the 29th of January, you said, I will pay you back as soon as I get the money. That's what you said to her. Now, the dog may have died in February, and everybody's very emotional in February when the dog died. But in January, before the dog died, you said to her, I will pay you back when I get the money. That's what you said to her.
Oh, everything that she said about the insurance and getting paid, it's not true. Everything.
$481. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Please? Judge Judy, I have evidence.
And I can't believe she turned it around and tried to turn it into a donation.
My witness here heard her say it was a donation.
I might have sent a text where it was out.
All the slander, harassment, and bullying that she did to me and the threat of my life.
You know, an empty threat just because I was so upset because she refused to pay me.
I should have trusted my first instinct, and she has a pretty good reputation in town.
That's what she does. That's her MO.
Right.
She doesn't work. She just tries to, take money from people.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Christensen versus Butcher. Step forward.
23-year-old Brianne Christensen is suing her former landlord for lost wages.
Miss Christensen, you rented a loft from Mr. Butcher. He lived in the apartment as well. You just rented a loft, sleeping loft. You had kitchen privileges, I assume? That would be a yes. And you rented this place and gave him a deposit, moved in the end of March?
Yeah, March 28th.
Now, when you moved in, you moved your clothes?
I moved most of my clothing. I wasn't able to hang it, though, because
I don't need a whole story. You moved in your clothes?
Yes.
You moved in your shoes?
Yes.
You moved in your toiletries?
Yes.
Did she move in with boxes?
Yes.
I'm looking at him now.
She did.
She moved in with boxes. It was furnished, so she didn't need furniture. How long was Avery there?
Approximately 2 months.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Butcher?
I wait tables. I'm in the service industry in Park City, Utah, and then I also have a tree company that I run during the summer.
And she moved in all this stuff. Did she have a moving company, or did she do it herself?
She did it herself.
And how long did it take her?
2 to 3 days. And I believe the actual date was March 26th.
But it took her 2 or 3 days to move in.
Correct.
Mr. Butcher, why do you think somebody takes a loft, spends 2 days moving, schlepping her stuff into that loft? Requires a ladder to get up there, right?
Correct.
So she's got to take clothes, books, whatever. Why do you think someone would move out after a month? $100 when she moved in. Did you forget that?
It was first and last
Is there something wrong with your brain?
No, it was never deposited. It was first and last month's rent.
Mr. Butcher,
Yes.
you've been spending too much time in Park City.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
23-year-old Brianne Christensen is suing her former landlord, Joel Butcher, for the return of her deposit and personal property, and for lost wages.
Why do you think someone would move out after a month if they were normal? She doesn't look abnormal. I say to myself, she wanted a place to live. She got a place to live. So unhappy that she packed everything up, gave you notice that she was moving out. She didn't give you 30 days notice, but she told you before that she was moving out. And you actually found she moved out in May, right?
Correct, May 19th.
And she paid you prorated rent for the 19 days, correct?
No, not correct.
How much did she pay you?
It was
in May?
In May, nothing.
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 Did you pay him anything for May?
Yes. I paid him $368 for the prorated rent, and I paid him $38 for our half of utility.
Did you pay him check or cash?
I paid him with a money order.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yeah. Here's the money order for the month of May. And here's my
$168 she paid you pro rata for May. And you had somebody move in June what?
June 1st.
How much was her deposit?
There was no deposit.
How much was your deposit?
$600.
She paid you $1,200 when she moved in. $600 for rent and $600 deposit. Did you forget that?
It was first and last month's
Is there something wrong with your brain?
No, it was never a deposit. It was first and last month's rent, as it was stated in the act. It was never a security deposit. There was no attachment, whether it be refunded.
Mr. Butcher.
Yes.
You've been spending too much time in Park City.
Maybe so.
Did you move out after a month? You want to tell me? I don't care if she embarrasses you. She said that you had random people over there all the time. They left the door open all the time. That's why she moved out. I mean, there has to be a reason why somebody is moving out after they spend the time to move in, spend 2 days moving in, and in less than 15 days, she says, you're miserable. I'm moving out, and I'm going to pay you for the 19 days that it takes me to find someplace else to live, but I can't live here anymore. Why do you think that she did that, Mr. Butcher?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
You knew you were moving. That would be a yes. You planned on moving.
Yes.
Well, I want you to explain to me why you didn't move with your, what you say, missing, your iPhone, your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card. What possible use does he have for your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card?
I was in such a hurry to move that I missed a few items, and they're still at his house. But when I came...
Do you have her passport, her social security card? Do you have that in your house?
I do not. She actually contacted my current roommate and made arrangements to retrieve those items.
I still have...
New roommate.
Yes. She wasn't able to find them.
So he wasn't able to find... He doesn't have...
I still believe they're there because I moved in with those items. And when I moved out, I didn't have them.
Well, you have to keep more careful track of your items. You knew you were moving for at least 3 weeks. It would suggest to me that those things you would take, a passport, your social security card, and certainly your iPhone. Goodbye, $600. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Are you excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I can't prove that anything was taken, and that's fine.
I definitely believe we entered into agreement personally. I have a 100-pound Rottweiler. People aren't coming and going.
Dealing cocaine in his kitchen when I was cooking my food.
At my age, former firefighter, cocaine isn't my thing.
I'm just glad to be out of there.
Were you stupid drunk?
Not stupid drunk, but yes, ma'am, I was drunk.
A family party was nearly deadly for her dogs.
I went to empty out the water bowl and I realized it was vodka. It could shut down their nervous system and they could die.
Now family ties are fragile.
You never had any problem with your aunt before, did you?
No, I love her, like she's my aunt.
You love everybody.
I love you too, Miss Judy.
So far.
This is Judge Judy.
Alma Castillo is suing her nephew, Jake Vasquez, for vet bills, lost wages, and punitive damages after he gave vodka to her dogs.
Order. All. It's case number 262 on the calendar in the matter of Castillo versus Vasquez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Vasquez, this is your aunt?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were at a family party?
Yes, ma'am.
That was on June 16th. It was on Father's Day.
Yes.
What time did you get to the party?
Actually, I live at the house that the party was held, so I woke up at 12 o'clock, helped cook tacos, the bratwurst, hot dogs, everything.
Who is this?
This is my witness that was with me at the party.
Is she your girlfriend?
No, a friend.
Who else do you live with?
My grandparents, my brothers, and cousin.
Whose house is it?
My grandparents.
How old are you?
Me, 24.
You have friends over that day?
Yeah.
How many?
Today.
And your aunt came over to visit her parents?
Yes.
Who you live with?
Yes.
She has 2 dogs. She brought both dogs.
Yes, ma'am. They're like my nieces. They're like families also, so of course they come.
And your aunt says that one of your friends got sort of pretty loaded and fed her dogs alcohol, put it in their water dish. That's what she says. I don't know if it's true or not, but you understand that if it was true, it would be very stupid.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So now I'm going to ask her what proof she has that you put alcohol in their water bowls. Because you never had any problem with your aunt before, did you?
No, I love her, you know, like she's my aunt. Of course, I've got love for her, and the dogs also.
You love her like your aunt?
Love you too, Miss Judy.
So far.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, so your dogs were fine when you brought them to the party. What kind of dogs are they?
I have 2 pit mixes and a Dachshund mix.
Did you bring all 3 dogs?
Yes.
What first gave you a clue that there was something wrong with your dogs?
They were coming inside after a few hours of being there, and they were kind of like wobbly and just like passing out on the floor. So I thought they were tired at first.
Is that all 3?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I told my mom that I think they're tired, so I'm just going to take them home. So I proceeded to empty out their water bowls. I put one inside and one outside like I always do. So I went outside, Jake bottle in front of him, Rita had a vodka bottle in front of her. I went to empty out the water bowl and I have to lift it over the deck. So when I lifted it over the deck, I caught a whiff of flavored vodka. So I took a closer smell of it and I realized it was vodka. So I started ranting and raving, cussing and cursing, telling them, you know, like, who did this? Why would you do this? This is stupid. Why would you do this? And I said, who did it? Who did it? Who did it? Rita was looking at her phone, pretending like she couldn't hear me. Jake was just giggling and laughing and saying, nobody did anything to your dogs. So I went inside and I told my mother about it. So I told my mother exactly what.
You're not smiling anymore, right?
No,
Took the
ma'am.
smile off your face a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I told my mother what happened, and I went out the door, got my dogs in the car, and I started driving home, and I was researching the effects of alcohol
Well,
in
not
dogs.
while you were driving.
Unfortunately, yes. And the first thing that came up was it could shut down their nervous system and they could die. So I drove them to the animal hospital emergency room. They immediately admitted them, started giving them IVs and sedations and everything. And unfortunately, it looks like duplicates because there's 3, but they're all named differently for their actual names.
Oh, well, there is a diagnosis. The diagnosis is alcohol toxicity. Okay, so you're Rita. Stand. Now, Rita, do you remember when Miss Castillo came outside and was emptying the dog's water bowl?
Yes, she was like yelling at all of us and...
Just a second. How long have you known Mr. Castillo, Rita?
Almost a year. I live with his his cousin.
You're his cousin's girlfriend?
No, I just live with him. He runs out beer and I think tequila. I don't remember vodka being there.
Okay, so they've been drinking beer and tequila.
Yeah.
And you weren't drinking?
No, that's why I was on my phone, as she said.
Okay. Did you know Miss Castillo from before?
Yes, I've met her a couple times.
Was she always nice to you?
We're friendly. I know most of his family.
That's not my question. Was she nice to you?
Yes.
Well, when she came outside on the 16th, and she emptied the bowl, and she was very upset, according to you, right?
Yes.
And you continued to be on your phone. What were you
Yes.
doing on your phone? Were you texting a friend? Were you
I just scroll around on social media. I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't want to get involved.
I'm just trying to, part of a family of people. You live in a place where you've been exposed to the plaintiff on numerous occasions in a very pleasant way, and she comes out and she's very upset. Clearly, according to you, she was very upset and yelling.
Well, she was yelling at Jake, so I thought it was like a family issue, so I didn't want to get involved.
I'm just asking you why you don't pick up your face from your phone. I wasn't asking why you didn't get involved. I was just curious. I'm trying to picture this in my own mind. You know, my kids sitting outside. I come outside. My 3 dogs, which are, usually pretty waggy-tailed, aren't happy. And a relative who I see I was talking to 911 or trying to talk my boyfriend off the ledge of committing suicide. Why I wouldn't put down the phone to at least find out what was going on. It just doesn't sound normal to this person who has perhaps lived too long on this earth. But maybe that's what people your age do. They disassociate from the world unless it's related to their iPhone. Is that what happens?
Yep.
Well, you were a wonderful witness. You can sit down now.
Thank you.
Did you ask your friend about whether he put a little alcohol in the dog's bowl?
No, I didn't.
Why not? Did you
I
think
honestly didn't think it was vodka. I think she was kind of lying because maybe like trying to put me out there.
Well, the doctor's diagnosis is alcohol toxicity.
It was actually in their system, like all 3 of the dogs, Your Honor?
That's what it says.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand it, but that's what it says.
I was confused when she came out yelling also, like, you know,
Of course, she never yelled at you before.
No.
And so did you say to her, let me smell the bowl?
Your Honor, no, I didn't say nothing.
You didn't say anything because you were stupid drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why you didn't say anything. It's because a normal person would have said, Auntie, let me smell the bowl. Let me smell what you're smelling. But not if you're stupid drunk.
I wanted to say she didn't even get a chance to smell. She just came out, threw the water over the...
Smell what you're smelling. I'm telling you, I didn't put anything unless you were stupid drunk. And your friend.
Are you asking me a question, Your Honor?
Yes.
What's the question?
Were you stupid drunk?
Not stupid drunk, but yes, ma'am, I was drunk.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. You brought a very informative witness. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They were acting like nothing happened.
I didn't know the dogs were there, to be honest, you know, so I don't know, like...
They acted like they didn't understand what I was talking about.
I wish I could tell you who did it and all that, but...
That I was just crazy. But
I don't think they had any alcohol, but
something was wrong, and I knew that I needed to take my dogs to the emergency room.
Obviously they did.
The next case.
All parties in the matter of Finnegan versus Bentley Roberto. Step forward.
James Finnegan is suing baseball tournament organizers Alex Bentley and Bradley Roberto for the return of tournament fees and punitive damages.
All right, so everybody, including my dear friend and court officer, know that I'm really stupid when it comes to sports. So let me try to make this as simple for myself as possible and tell me if I'm off base. You have a baseball league.
Baseball tournament.
And you coach a baseball match. It was $10,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
In order for each team to participate, there was a participation fee. And the fee for participating in your tournament was how much?
$1,500 per team entry fee.
So if you wanted to have the chance of winning $10,000, you could participate in the tournament by a $1,500 fee.
That's correct.
Did you approach Mr. Finnegan, the defendants, or did they approach you about joining the tournament?
They approached us about doing the tournament, Your Honor.
Who's the they?
Alex Bentley, Your Honor.
Mr. Bentley. Raise Mr. Bentley. Mr. Bentley, do you remember on what date you...
First, exactly 2 weeks before the tournament, we attended a practice.
September 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, he had not yet signed up for the tournament.
Not yet to that point, correct.
And at that point, how many teams did you have signed up for the tournament?
Either 9 or 10. We were almost there. We needed 12 total.
You needed 12 in order to make your $10,000 profit.
Right, correct.
And you did, in fact, sign up for the tournament.
We actually didn't sign up, Your Honor. We gave a deposit of $200 at the meeting, but there was no documentation signed.
Oh, just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
But you gave him a $200 deposit.
Correct, and said we would do the best that we could to make this happen in such a short period of time.
And sign no papers.
No papers were signed before the tournament, Your Honor.
And at that time, the only thing that you had contributed was $200.
That's all we had contributed, and we'd also had notified Mr. Bentley in regards to that we're going to be able to afford to play in this tournament. We'd already committed to another tournament 2 weeks after that.
Okay. Did you notify them in writing?
I have an email with his reply.
May I see it?
Yes, Your Honor. It was dated on the 12th, 2 days prior to the tournament.
2 days prior to the tournament?
Yes.
Well, that's a little late in the game.
Understood.
You understand that? That's
Definitely.
a little late in the game.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your guys play for sport, but they have a couple. Even the suggestion, sir, that we may give you a ringer or two is dishonest. You understand that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
James Finnegan says baseball tournament organizers Alex Bentley and Bradley Roberto deceived him regarding a tournament. Bradley's countersuing for unpaid fees and lost wages.
What's a ringer or two?
Ma'am, a ringer is a player who's not supposed to be on that team per se, or is not typically on that team, and a ringer is a player from the outside brought in to play for a short period of time, typically.
I'm not real sophisticated about this, but a ringer suggests somebody that's not supposed to be there, that is a better player than probably you have.
Your Honor,
that gives you a better chance. That's a ringer. We'll get you a ringer or two. Well, I'm glad you're acknowledging that. Otherwise, I'd have a lot of fun with you. It's too bad. Anyway, you did in fact go and play in the tournament.
We went with the understanding that we had told him we could only afford $600 at this tournament, which he said, pay what you can and make sure you're there.
So you went and you played. How much money did you give him?
Actually gave us a reduced rate of $1,200 when he came to the practice, Your Honor, just because he was in need of more teams.
Did they give you any ringers?
We did not receive any ringers, Your Honor. And those are basically the definition of ringer, are players like ex-professional players or minor league players.
I understand what the word. I understand what it means.
Yes, ma'am.
That, your guys play for sport, but they have a couple of people who play for more than sport, and they would beef up your team a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
Increasing the chances of your winning, which is a little dishonest, right?
Correct. We just
a second, which is dishonest. Even the suggestion, sir, that we may give you a ringer or two is dishonest.
Whomever they wanted. It was an open tournament, meaning open rosters available as long as you show us your roster the day of. So there was never any roster limitations other than the amount of people you may bring.
That's okay. But you're offering to beef up his team with people that you provide in order to induce him to play in the tournament looking towards a prize of $10,000. The whole thing sort of smells sleazy to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You understand that I don't like the term ringer.
I do gather that. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask why?
You do? No.
Okay.
10 million people will understand why.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
James Finnegan says baseball tournament organizers Alex Bentley and Bradley Roberto deceived him regarding a tournament. Bradley's countersuing for unpaid fees and lost wages.
Who won the tournament?
A team called the Dirty Birds. We also had a sponsor named Dirty Birds. It's named after Dirty Birds Chicken Wings.
Dirty Birds won the $10,000.
They did.
Did you play in the tournament?
No.
Did you play in the tournament?
I did to fill in a team. I did to fill in an extra team that needed guys just so we can get the tournament.
Did you play?
2.
Any with the Dirty Birds?
No.
Okay, now you can tell me why you think you're entitled to your $600 back.
Your Honor, with the type of teams that were going to be in the tournament, it appeared that we were going to be playing rec teams and not the level of competition in which we actually encountered in this tournament. It just felt that it was a bit misleading. And then also the fact that when we went to this tournament, we told Alex specifically what we could pay. We wouldn't have gone to the tournament in any way, shape, or form if he didn't agree to that, which he replied back. I basically had to spend the entire tournament trying to get money from our players and explain to them that, hey, we have to do it this way. Nobody wanted to play in this tournament because we'd already committed to playing a tournament.
Now you have a counterclaim for the remainder owed of tournament fees and lost wages. Who's lost wages?
I had to take the day off work, not only to deal with trying to get our money back multiple times, but also go into the courthouse, file a claim, spend,
You understand that I don't like the term ringer.
I do gather that. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask why?
You do? No.
Okay.
10 million people will understand why. If I have to explain it to you, go home and ask your mother.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real...
It's,
what's the purpose of the video?
I guess to clarify and show you that he not only didn't have any of these issues at the time, but also signed this document saying he would pay the remaining balance in 4 days.
Oh, I'd like to see it. You have a note that makes it's a whole different thing?
And footage.
Shh. Would you show this to the plaintiff, please?
This would be great to see this. Thank you. Yes.
Did you sign that?
Your Honor, I did sign that.
It's a promissory note for $500 that you
received a copy of that information. He hand wrote everything.
What I'm asking you is, did you pay this $500?
I paid $500 initially. I didn't pay him the additional amount. No.
Well, this says you have a balance of $500.
Understand.
But judgment on the counterclaim for $500. Your complaint's dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Just felt that it wasn't exactly what we were promised, and we told him what we could pay, and it changed as we got there.
There's definitely a little bit of a sore loser tantrum crybabiness to this.
This is disappointing, but it happens,
and that's, part of the reputation that we knew about coming in.
We didn't really get a copy of all the rosters to see, so no, did not.
Having that said, he had a fair chance to win.
Wish I had some. We weren't that good.
He played against two teams, what it is.
No more tournaments with that specifically. It was still a good opportunity, good learning lesson, and that's all we could say.
Her son had a big time problem.
I noticed that he was missing the watch. He said he had left it at the defendant's house.
He said, I don't know what happened to the watch.
Then time slipped away.
A week passed, so I gave him another call. Days went by, I called again.
Now it's crunch time.
He admitted to me that he would replace the watch because his brother stole the watch.
Different story. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
This is Judge Judy.
Yesenia Diaz says former friend Raymond Francisco is responsible for her son's Apple Watch being stolen.
Order. All rise. This is Francisco.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Young man, have a seat.
Ms. Diaz, this is your claim. You have a son, this young man here, and as a wonderful gesture, you bought him an Apple Watch.
Correct.
And then some months later, I think it was maybe April.
Correct.
Your son went to spend the weekend at the defendant's house because he has a son who's about the same age.
Yes, correct.
And he came home without the Apple Watch.
Correct.
And you think that Mr. Francisco should be responsible for the Apple Watch.
Correct.
I'm waiting to hear the theory of your case.
Okay, the defendant has a stepson with my friend about the same age as my son.
I said that, yeah. Keep going.
Okay, that day my son came home missing the watch. I asked him. He said he had left it at the defendant's house. I sent him over to the defendant's house. While my son went over there, I called the defendant on the phone. That day, me and the defendant spoke. The defendant said that the watch was last seen charging, that the baby girl, Naya, their daughter, was playing with it, that...
Just a second. He said the last time he saw the Apple Watch, it was being charged.
Correct.
Did he say when?
Not that I recall, no.
Did he say it was being charged while your son said, the last time I remember seeing the watch, it was being charged and his little daughter was playing with it?
Correct.
Go ahead.
While speaking to him, that was what was said to me. He said once he had a chance, he would look for the watch.
Okay.
A few days passed. After that, a week passed. I didn't get no answer, no response towards the watch. So I gave him another call. This time around, we spoke on the phone. He said he didn't find the watch, but that he will pay for the watch. He will replace the watch because the watch went missing in his apartment. After that, gave him a few more days. Days went by, nothing. I called again. I didn't get an answer. I couldn't have proof of the text because I lost that phone, but I believe he should have the text that back and forth. Anyways,
he doesn't have to provide evidence. You have to provide evidence.
Eventually, after that, time went by. As I mentioned before, we are friends. We've been friends for over 15 years and plus. He explained to me that he was in a situation where he didn't have the money at the time.
Okay, so what you're saying to me is when you spoke to him, he said, I don't know what happened to the watch, but since you say it came up missing in my house, I'll pay for it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's just what you told me.
Well, what I'm saying is within the apartment.
That's exactly what I just said.
Sorry, I didn't understand quite your question.
Well, he's not responsible for the watch.
I mean, if we have...
This is not a give and take.
Correct.
I'm telling you, if he had second thoughts about his responsibility for the watch, he has no legal responsibility to pay for the watch.
Correct. However, my child was there, Your Honor. My child was under his watch and his girlfriend's watch. If his child came to my house and misplaced anything or anything got stolen, he would want me to replace the item.
That's your interpretation of the law. For property, you have to have some connection between loss of that property that satisfies a court. Now, how did your son get home from his house?
We live a building away from each other.
So, do you know what time your son left his house after spending the weekend there?
It was afternoon. I'm not sure the exact time.
Do you remember what time you left your friend's house?
About 5 p.m.
And where did you go?
Straight to my house.
And when did you realize that you didn't have the watch?
When I arrived at my mom's house, at my house.
So what did you do? You live in the same complex, right?
He was gonna take all my stuff, I was gonna be in trouble, and I didn't want that to happen.
No, she wouldn't have even known. If you got back to the house, you didn't have your watch on, you just go right back and get the watch from the house.
When she realized, she asked me for my watch. So then I told her I left it in my friend Jeremy's house.
Well, what time was that?
Around like 6, 7
So
p.m.
within an hour of your coming home, your mother asked, where's your watch? Why didn't you go back and get it?
I did, but I went to go search for it. I didn't get it.
You went to the house?
Yes.
And looked for it, and it wasn't there?
Yeah.
Now, during the weekend, where did you and the defendant's son go? Did you go out to play? On which day, Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
And so what you're telling me is Sunday, you stayed in all day until 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
I mean, are you telling me that because you remember it, or you're making this up as you go?
No, I remember it.
You remember it. What time did you go to play basketball on Saturday?
7 p.m.
So you stayed in all day Saturday?
No.
Well, you said you went out to play basketball at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
What did you do all day Saturday?
I brought my PlayStation over from my house to my friend Jeremy's house, and we just kept playing games together.
So you were playing PlayStation and just went outside in the evening. Where did you have your meals?
In their house.
When was the last time you remember seeing? What day was it? Was the last time you...
Saturday.
Saturday was the last time you remember seeing it?
Yes.
Was that before or after you were playing basketball?
Before.
So you didn't see the watch at all day Sunday, right?
No.
Or after you came in from playing basketball?
No.
Good. Okay, Miss Diaz, he's not responsible for your son's watch. Buy your child an expensive present?
Your Honor, if you allow me to speak,
I allowed you to speak and tell your whole story.
Oh,
I'm telling you that unless you have some sort of a statement from him that he took the watch.
Okay, I don't have a statement, but I do have a baby shower where he admitted to me that he would replace the watch because his brother stole the watch.
Oh, just a second. Different story. Now I'm coming to you, Mr. Francisco.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir. My initial statement is correct, that you personally have no responsibility to replace the watch.
Yes, ma'am.
If you initially said it was my responsibility because he was at my house, and you since changed your mind, which you could do because she had no legal consequence. Her son lost his watch. If he lost his watch and he lost it at your house, that's not your fault. Did you have a conversation with Miss Diaz?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old is this brother of yours?
He's 30.
The Apple Watch.
No, that was a form of miscommunication.
Well, I'd like you to tell me what you told her.
In the sense that the Jarian was staying over in our house.
No. I'm talking to you about the conversation that you had with her later, in June.
In the baby shower.
In the baby shower.
Yes, ma'am.
About your brother.
It was a miscommunication. I simply explained to her that my brother was also staying in my house for that weekend, and she was claiming that he lost the watch. And I said the watch did not disappear in my house because the only other person that was in my house besides me was my brother, and he's older than I am. Actually like a father figure to me, and he would not do that. And that's the only other logical...
Lives in your house.
Excuse me?
A little girl?
Yes, my stepson and my stepdaughter as well.
So they live in the house as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old are they?
One is 13 and the other one is 5.
So you have a 13-year-old, that's his friend.
Yes, ma'am.
And a 5-year-old, and then visiting was your older brother.
Yes, ma'am.
So what you said to her was, you never told her that your 36-year-old brother stole the watch?
No, ma'am.
What does he do?
He was working construction at the time.
Your Honor, may I?
Certainly.
On June, at the baby shower, like I said, we did have a conversation. Raymond did tell me that his brother stole the watch. He said that when he first was looking for the watch, he said that his brother had sold it because he had just lost his job. Now, that same day while we had that conversation, he agreed to make payments. I told him, we're both parents.
That's fine. I think you should sue his brother.
We could do, I don't have access to his brother. That's
Very
why
easy.
he said
Very
he became
easy.
responsible for making the payments.
Very
Judge,
easy.
I'm
I will
sorry.
give, just very easy. Your brother works construction.
No, his brother got fired for being a thief just like him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He told me. He said it to me that his brother stole it. He's a thief just like him. And they both got fired from their job.
Judge Judy, as you can see, her story is all over the place.
In seeking a protective order to have him removed.
I did. I was violent.
That's either a yes or a no.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Yesenia Diaz is suing her former friend, Raymond Francisco, for the value of a stolen Apple Watch.
Just a second, listen to me. What's your brother's name?
Stevie.
I don't hear you.
Stevie.
Where does he live?
Don't know at the time.
No.
It's not.
No.
It's not.
No, take out your phone. Bird, would you watch the defendant while I ask him this question?
Sure.
Go to contact.
That's your brother? Stevie
No, I don't have his number saved. I don't have his information.
Just a second. Bird.
No worries.
Bird.
No, Stevie.
Bird. Hand him the phone.
That's a friend.
Hand him the phone.
You can have it.
You know how to work that thing, Bird?
I could give him a one-on-one.
Is his brother's name Stevie?
I believe so. He told me. He said it to me that his brother stole it. He's a thief just like him. And they both got fired from their job.
Judge Judy, as you can see, her story is all over the place.
Yeah, right.
I don't have nothing.
Big brother Stevie got the number.
Yep.
That you have proof that Big brother Stevie stole your son's Apple Watch and you want him arrested.
Yes.
And then you have him arrested, or if you want to sue him in small claims court, you can. If he stole the watch, right?
He did. His brother told me he stole it.
Just a second. That's your proof. Your proof is, and it's on tape, that his brother told you that his brother stole the watch and sold it because he just lost his job, right? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. We're done here. Thank you. She gets the number.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel like he lost it in the park.
No, I never.
Still love the both of them. I just want my son's watch to get replaced.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bass versus Miller. Step forward.
Lawrence Bass is suing his ex-roommate, Jeffrey Miller, for the return of rent, stolen property, breaching their lease, and harassment.
Mr. Bass, it appears that you were unfortunately displaced by a fire that was here in California and found a room in the defendant's home where he was renting 2 rooms in his house. The other tenant that was living there turned out to be a little nutty. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, he was actually
Both of you got a restraining order against him, and he was gone. Then it is your claim that after this person was gone, this was in January, by the way, of 2018, that you moved into his house. The person who left after the restraining order left in what month and year?
Madam, the original tenant was another wonderful roommate who moved because of the hostility of Mr. Miller.
That's not true.
The second roommate who came in was invited in by Mr. Miller. He was arrested on the driveway.
Would you just answer my question?
I'm confused as to which one we're speaking about because there subsequently was another man who violently attacked us.
February of 2018, there was a roommate who turned out to be difficult enough for the landlord, and I don't know whether you joined with the landlord in seeking a protective order to have him removed. Did you join with the landlord?
I did. I was violent.
That's either a yes or a no.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The one man you mentioned was arrested inside the house for violently attacking me, saying he was going to kill me repeatedly and to kill my family repeatedly, even while in custody of the police.
Are you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Stolen property, breaching their lease, and harassment.
Okay, so you joined with the landlord in getting rid of this other tenant. Now, my question is, when did that take place?
I believe that was April of this year.
Now, after that, was another roommate admitted to your home?
Yes, that moved in to take his room.
In what month?
That was in August 1st of this year.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you moved out in what month and year?
10 days ago.
You moved out in...
I moved most of my things
October.
weeks before.
In October.
Yeah, technically.
He's still there. He still has...
You understand, Mr. Bassett, if you have property, I assume you did not pay rent after you moved out.
No, ma'am.
What day in October did you physically move out?
My new rental agreement is dated the 27th of October, so that would have been 10 days ago.
So you were there the whole month of October?
I wasn't, but some of my property was, and I was coming and going.
Then you lived there. Did you pay October's rent?
No.
What was your rent?
$700.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes.
So the only rent that you didn't pay was the month of October?
September, madam.
You didn't pay September either?
No.
And you were there in September?
Yes, after filing the action and sending several letters certified to him asking to be an overall hostile environment. The one man you mentioned that was taken to jail, that was the second man who was arrested on the property. He had previously invited another man, a known schizophrenic that Mr. Miller knew had been arrested for violent acts and was indeed arrested on the driveway while fighting with the police and screaming and cussing at the neighbors. That was before the man that you just mentioned was arrested inside the house for violently attacking me, saying he was going to kill me repeatedly and to kill my family repeatedly, even while in custody of the police. He did, in fact, return and stole my property, vandalized my property to the tune of thousands of dollars, and vandalized his car, let the air out of my tires, this sort of thing, with some sort of large knife that he to his car door, this sort of thing.
Are you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
There is no counterclaim here for the 2 months' rent that you owe the defendant, $1,400, which you did not pay. You chose to leave. You moved there in January of 2018, and you lived there a year and a half. If you were unhappy with the fact that Mr. Miller was not wiser in his selection of roommates, then you had plenty of time to move. You had plenty of time to find, I assume, since you are an intelligent man, I assume that you have a job in the selection of roommates, because he certainly wouldn't purposely invite somebody that would vandalize his car and rip up his furniture. He wouldn't say, oh, I think I would like that person to come and live with me. Because that's stupid. He doesn't look like a stupid man. He may have exercised poor judgment. You're not getting $5,000. That's not happening. Good. You owe him $1,400 in rent, but he doesn't have a counterclaim. Your case is dismissed. We're finished.
I wouldn't pay him a cent.
Thank you.
Parties are excused.
What
You may
a
step
farce.
out.
I was violently attacked in this home.
Mr. Bass, he can't control his anger.
He's never paid a cent of tax for the 18 years he sold marijuana at that residence.
He is a very hostile person.
I will now hire a professional attorney to do background checks for me.
I did go back to his house when he chose to get vulgar with me and aggressive.
How many times have you been arrested?
4 times, ma'am. An online connection immediately crashes.
This is somebody that you know for 24 hours.
Yes, I felt comfortable with him at the time.
Evidently, you had bad judgment.
And his new connection hopes for a reboot.
He served jail time for domestic violence. What makes you think that you're going to be any different?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old April Krenke is suing her ex-boyfriend, Tyler Milligan.
All rise. It's case number 105 on the calendar, the matter of Krenke versus Milligan.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Krenke, this is your case. You allege that sometime in February of this year, you met the defendant online. You met him online. He came. You had your first meeting in person on February 20th. You liked him. You lived with your 1-year-old daughter, and he stayed the night. You claim the next day he kidnapped you and forced you to co-sign for a truck that he wanted. And you did co-sign for the truck. According to you, while you didn't see him again, you kept in touch with him because you were hoping that on a loan.
That is not entirely correct, Your Honor.
Well, then let's have it. Did you meet him on February 20th?
I met him on February 20th.
And he came to your house?
Yes, ma'am. He came to my house.
And he spent the night?
And he spent the night, yes.
And
then from there, we decided that I knew I'd have to bring him back to his house. So I'd bring him back to his house the next day, and I would stay the night because I had to work the following day.
So the next night, you were going to stay at his house?
Yes, ma'am.
With your daughter?
Yes.
Now, this is somebody that you know for 24 hours?
Yes, I felt comfortable with him at the time, and
evidently you had bad judgment, and you took your year-old daughter with you.
I also have my witness here that was to his house when he chose to get vulgar with me and aggressive. And she has a restraining order on him also as well. As far as like the vulgar and the aggressiveness.
Just a second. Can I see a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Milligan, how old are you, sir?
26, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested?
4 times, ma'am.
Last time was when?
I was just released on June 8th of this year.
What was your conviction?
Restriction of a 911 call in domestic.
Domestic abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
How many of the 4 arrests were as a result of domestic abuse?
Just 2.
And you're 26 years old.
Yes,
was it
ma'am.
with the same woman or different women?
Different.
How long was the last direct you to anger management?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever have to pay a fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the plaintiff says that the witness who's sitting here to her right has a restraining order against you. Do you know who she is?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a hearing on that restraining order?
No, ma'am.
Have you been to court? Have you been to court?
No, ma'am, I have not.
So she got this restraining order on her own without you?
Yes.
Were you served with the restraining order?
Yes.
Do you have a return date for that restraining order?
No, ma'am.
Did you default in appearance on that? Well, when is the return date?
I have no idea.
Well, you were served with it.
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan, when you're served with a restraining order, it's a temporary restraining order, and you are entitled to have a hearing on it. They gives you a return date. You don't know what that return date is?
No, ma'am.
What's the return date?
It was 20 days after the fact of that he could have gone to court. Otherwise...
Did you get a default judgment?
Yep.
Did you go? Not yep.
I did not have to go to court. They just automatically signed the restraining order.
May I see it? Were you dating him?
At one point, him and I did date.
Just a second. So this is when you were dating?
No, we were roommates. So
but you dated. You had dated. Sit down. Sit. You filed this report about a week later.
He knew where I lived.
You filed this report about a week later, February 28th. You spoke to the police officer. Why didn't you want to pursue any charges against the defendant?
I was scared for my safety and my daughter's safety. He does know where I live, and I was afraid of the retaliation that
Did you make an application to any court for a protective order?
I did not at the time.
At any time?
I have not.
Where's the truck?
It's sitting at Porter Service.
What is it doing there?
Waiting to be fixed. The wheel bearing had went out previously, and also the brakes. Once I got served the paperwork, I still working what was served to me when I was incarcerated.
Why did you think that she co-signed for this vehicle for you?
So that way I could come back and forth to see her, also for work purposes also.
She knew you for 2 days. What is wrong with you?
Nothing, man. We were previously talking about it. So when she came down to the house, we set up a negotiation about it.
There's no negotiation. I don't understand you. Who was that?
That's my wife.
"26 years old, and he's had 2 protective orders in domestic violence."
I don't. I just trust him. I don't. I just trust him.
You trust him?
Yes.
You think all these people are crazy? You think all these women are crazy?
No.
How much was this truck?
Altogether, $9 grand. That's with tax, title, and license.
In whose name is the truck?
Hers.
Whose?
April's.
Is the truck in your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Go get it. Get it.
I'm actually filing for the...
Go get it.
$5,000 amount.
I don't care what you're suing for.
Because I don't want the truck. It's broken.
I'm telling you, go get the truck.
It's broken.
I'm telling you, go get the truck. telling you to go get the truck. I will prepare the order. Now you know where it is. You're going to get arrested again. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And she can't say, well, they don't understand him, you know, and I trust him, because everybody trusts me. She's going to get the truck, and then she's going to sell it. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
If I may add, I do have receipts for 2 parts that I have bought previously.
I don't give a rat's behind what you have receipts for. She's going to get the truck, and she's going to sell it, and hopefully get a lot more than $5,000. It's her truck, and she's going to get it. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me the name of the place where it's currently sitting.
Porter Service.
Very good. We'll contact them and let them know that they're not to release it to you. Got it?
Yes.
Perfect. The truck. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Ma'am, what about like the towing fees, because the truck is broke down right now? Like, if the truck has to be towed from where it's at currently now?
I don't deal in ifs. I'm giving you the truck back that was $9,000.
What about the damage?
You're suing him for $5,000. He just bought the truck in February. You're going to be able to sell it for more than $5,000. I would even invest a couple of bucks in fixing it if I were you, so you can sell it or keep it. Go get the truck. It's yours.
Okay. Yes, sir.
He's not going to touch it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have absolutely...
We can still date and stuff, but...
He is manipulative, vulgar, and just horrible of a person.
She wasn't looking for what I was, and so moved on to bigger and better things.
I feel bad for his new wife, to be completely honest. I am not jealous of her.
She was just looking for a hookup, and I went in marriage and settled down, and here we are.
By any means, I am just completely sorry for her and for her new man.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dilla versus Waldrop. Step forward.
Andrew Dilla and his son, 20-year-old Justin, are suing Justin's former friend, 20-year-old Michaela Waldrop, for vehicle expenses and the removal of Justin's name.
Yes.
And who do you work for?
Chipotle.
You've been working there for a while?
Yeah, a little over a year.
What do you do?
I'm a kitchen manager.
You have a salary check.
No, it's by the hour.
But you get paid?
Yeah.
Yes. It would be yes. And what do you do?
I just got recently hired as a cashier.
And before that, what did you do?
I was a cashier at Chipotle.
That's how you met each other. And you dated for a while. Terrific. And you wanted a car.
Yes.
And you had saved up for a down payment.
Yes.
How much?
$2,600 in total.
How much did you put down on the car?
$2,600 in total.
Instead of buying, a car for $2,600, you wanted a new car, newish car. And you couldn't get any credit.
Yes.
So this 20-year-old, because we'll give her the loan.
Yes.
And the car is in whose name?
It's in both of our names.
And you were dating at the time?
Yes.
Can I see the title?
Your Honor?
What?
The title's not available because it's still being financed.
I want to see the title to the car. Somebody should have a title that says lien on it.
So we have the refinance papers.
I just need a title that says lien on it.
This is the original title from Exeter Finance.
All right, so nobody has a title.
The finance company has the title.
Great. How much is left on the loan?
$10,285 last time I checked.
You were going to be let off this loan because that would be stupid of the loan company, because now they have 2 people to go against, right?
Correct.
And you have the car. What do you want me to do?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were the dumb one who let to the friends who got pulled over, and the car was impounded because they found drug paraphernalia in the car. Does anybody have a police report for me to look at? I'd like to take a look at it. Put your hand down.
Oh, sorry.
Put your hand down. Listen, you can't help it if you raise stupid.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin Dilla says former friend Michaela Waldrop owes for damage.
According to him, you lent the car to somebody.
Yes.
And that was a friend of yours, and they got pulled over for some sort of drug infraction. And the police went through the car, took it all apart looking for drugs. What's the name of the genius who you lent the car to?
The friend is Izzy, and actually, the car was reported stolen.
Well, if it was reported stolen, they wouldn't have torn it apart looking for drugs. Was there drug paraphernalia found in the car?
Not to my awareness, no.
Not to your knowledge?
Yes.
Not that you are aware of?
Yes.
Right. On what date was the car loaned to your friend?
February 12th.
And you had had the car for about a month at that
Yes.
time. And you had already broken up with him.
No, we were still together.
Do with the car.
He was going to go get food and run to his house. I had a constant location of him because I had an update.
He was supposed to go get food.
Yes.
All right. And who was he with?
He was with his friend.
He was
who
with
actually
another...
I knew him too.
He was with another friend. And on February 12th, were you and Mr. Dollar still a couple?
No.
When had you broken up?
Yes.
When had you broken up?
Sorry. Around February 2nd.
Who went to get the car from impound? Does anybody have a police report for me to look at? I'd like to take a look at it. Put your hand down.
Oh, sorry.
Put your hand down. Okay. Listen, you can't help it if you raise stupid.
I have the receipts right here from the getting it out of impound.
I want to see a police report.
Oh, we weren't able to get a police report.
You picked up the car from impound?
Correct.
And you have the car?
Correct.
And you're paying for the car?
Correct.
Actually, I paid for April.
Who cares? You were the dumb one who led to the friends who got pulled over, and the car was impounded because they found drug paraphernalia in the car. So I don't care if you paid April. What do you want?
If I were
You got stuck. You got stuck.
Yeah.
With paying for the car. Are you driving it?
No, I'm not.
Is it insured?
It's the registration.
Is it insured?
No, it's
now,
not.
Well, you know you have to have it insured by the loan company.
Okay.
Just what do you mean, okay? Is the car insured?
Car is not insured, never was insured.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you loaned the car to these two idiots,
yes,
did it have damage on it? Did it have damage on it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin Dilla says former friend Michaela Waldrop owes for damage and impound fees for a car he co-signed for.
Is the car insured?
Car is not insured, never was insured, and the defendant did not insure the car when she took it off the lot.
Listen, that's stupid's fault.
Right. We were trying to sell the car. We wanted to get $5,000.
I'd like to see the damage to the car. Now, unless you can explain to me how the car got damaged.
I was aware.
The two of you broke up in February.
Yes.
On February 12th, you loaned the car to two people, and on February 14th, the plaintiff got the car. Idiots.
Yes.
Did it have damage on it? Did it have damage on it?
Yes.
What kind of damage did it have on it?
The mirror was missing, and the back taillight was broken.
How did that happen?
Honestly, I don't know, because woke up one morning, went out to my driveway and saw it was like that. I thought someone came and actually...
Shh. On what date did you find the mirror broken and the taillight damaged?
January 26th.
So on January the 26th, according to you, you and the plaintiff were still a couple because you said you were still a couple in February. That's what you told me a while ago.
Yes.
So while the car was in, you have all this other damage.
Not that I know.
Not when you loaned it to your two friends.
Yeah.
So it didn't have all this damage.
No.
Is this the way you retrieved the car from impound?
Yes. And
who was there with you when you took it out of impound?
my dad.
You were there?
Yes.
When the car came out of impound?
Yes.
When did you take that video?
That day.
And that's the way it looked?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have an estimate, either yes or no?
Verbal. So.
Well, you can't tell me what somebody else told you.
And no.
Well, I need an estimate because she's responsible for that. You know, she's an idiot and she's not going to pay for this car and she's not going to get it back because she's totally irresponsible. But the two of you were on the title to the car.
Correct.
The car was damaged. If you have to sell it, which you clearly do, you have to sell it, and in order to sell it, it has to be repaired. And if I don't have an estimate, I'm going to have to back this up a different way. Bird, would you look up the Blue Book value of a 2015 Mazda 3 Sport?
10.
Is $3,259, which I assume is the money that you have so far invested in the car, making the payments so that it wouldn't be repossessed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, that's certainly far less than what you can get if you sold it. And based upon that, you couldn't get anywhere near $10,000 if you had to sell the car this way. You have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
It's dismissed. If you can't afford a car, don't buy it.
Actually, I was not allowed to make the first car payment.
If you can't afford a car, don't buy it.
Oh, I was able to afford it.
No, you couldn't afford it because the credit score that you had was insufficient for a $10,000 loan. So you couldn't. And then once you were in between jobs.
Yes.
Yes. And you lent it to some people who were probably using it to sell, transport, do whatever they were doing with drugs. In any event, there was paraphernalia found in the car. $3,200. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done here. By the way, we're withholding your money until you sign over the title to him. Thank you. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I didn't directly report her stolen. All I said is I did not give anyone permission
Because my friend let Justin know he was driving the car.
to drive the car because I was unknowing of what she had done with the car.
And Justin did not like that friend. And I've lost many opportunities.
Due to her letting them use the car.
I get my car back and they accept my refinancing.
I was young and dumb. Don't co-sign for a significant other.
And I could do it today. If not, then car's yours.
Buy your own car if you can afford it.
I gave him all the money that I owed.
Taken for a ride at a used car lot?
I'm trying to figure out why he would repossess the car.
I have a strict repo agreement that she signed.
I gave up all the money that was owed.
No, she's driven by anger.
Are those receipts from your company?
No.
Yes, they are.
You can actually see some sort of copy smears.
They said swear to tell the truth, not to lie. Tell the truth.
This is Judge Judy.
Juanita Sloan is suing car dealership owner Dimitri Marr for the return of car payments and a wrongful repossession.
Order. All rise. Count in the matter of Sloan versus Marr.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Miss Sloan, you bought a used car from Mr. Marr.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a contract?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to read it. Your complaint is that he repossessed the car. You have an action for wrongful repossession of the car. He has a cross-complaint against you for unpaid deposit on the car and damage. Okay, so you bought this car for 2007 Nissan, and you were financing the car for $1,932. The down payment was $2,800.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave him $1,000
Down.
towards that down payment, $732.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And you gave him $1,000 and he gave you the car.
At that time, yes.
On what date?
On June 12th.
And when were you supposed to give him the remainder of the $1,800?
I was supposed to make a payment of $1,000 on the 24th, which I made a payment of $500 because I didn't have the whole $1,000.
Just a second. On June 12th, you gave him $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
When were you supposed to make your next payment?
June 24th.
And on 6/24, you did not have what you were supposed to have, so you gave him $500.
Yeah.
Well, when did you give him the remainder of the
I gave
7/6?
I gave $800.
So you still owed him $500?
No, ma'am. I gave him all the money that I owed. It was split up, but I gave up all the money that was owed. I have the receipts.
$1,000 plus $500 plus $800 equals $2,300. Okay. And you were supposed to give him, as a down payment, $2,800.
Yes, ma'am.
You only gave him $2,300.
What you're adding up as of now, yes, I've only gave him $2,300. But
just a second. And when was the next time you
July
gave him
14th, I gave him another $500 to his business associate.
On July 14th?
Yes.
Now, were you supposed to make any other payments to him towards the balance of the car? I'm trying to figure out why he would repossess the car. $1,932.97. How were you supposed to pay that money?
Well, it was supposed to be in increments of $500 a month for 4 months.
Starting when?
On August 1st.
Okay. Just show me where in this contract the $500 was supposed to start on August 1st. So far by 7/14, according
Here
to
goes
you.
the payment paper that was part of the contract.
This says on July 26th, you're supposed to pay him $507.73.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you did not.
Because my payments had got moved to the 1st of the month. I was having a problem with the car, so we came to the agreement where we were supposed to go half, which I never got the half, and I gave him the $500 for the rest of the down payment.
Just a second. We're not talking about the down payment. I've got the down payment.
Okay.
The down payment's covered. You had a balance owing to him of $2,000 for the car. According to the payment schedule that you gave me,
That's the payment schedule that they just made, okay?
That's okay. According to this that you just gave me,
yes,
you were supposed. You have to understand that. That's
But
a
they moved the
separate
date
thing.
to the 1st is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay, well, show me in writing where they moved the date to the 1st.
Your Honor, the contract explicitly states that it was due on July 26th in the sale contract as well. And I'd also like to note that the amount she's claiming was never met. Down payment was never met.
Why would you
the
lie?
total today that we've received was $1,800, and I have a payment ledger
Here goes. Because I got receipts.
Just a second. I'm going to look at them. Could you just point out in the sales contract where the payments were supposed to be made?
So on the first page, it shows you the total down payment of $2,800. I actually have it highlighted here. And then it also shows the first monthly payment, July 26th.
Monthly payment beginning 7/26. Okay, great. Now, Ms. Sloan, I would like you to show me. He says that he's only received $1,800 from you.
That's what he's claiming.
That was before he repossessed the car on September 5th. Now, I would like to see all of your proof that you paid him the $2,800 and the $500 first payment that was due in August, which would have brought the total payments to $2,800, right? Plus 507, 3307.
Text from the other associate who was in partner with him at the time that's confirming that he has
No, I
my
just wanted
payment.
to see the receipts.
Okay, but I don't have my last receipt for the $1,200.
So what you're telling me is you don't have the last receipt?
For the final payment of the car, yes.
Show these to the defendant, please.
Thank you.
Are those receipts from your company?
No.
Yes, they are.
These were not generated by us, and if you look, you can actually see some sort of copy smear or something going on here.
Demetrius, you gonna lie in the front? Got confirmation, ma'am, right here that says, "In Demetrius, no, we received all your payments."
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Don't be no liar.
Who were these from?
Those are from his business associate.
Name?
Travis. Or
Travis.
He signed the contract.
There used to be a person at my dealership named Travis.
Used to be a person at your dealership.
Correct.
Why is he no longer at your dealership?
He's been terminated.
Terminated by whom?
Myself.
Terminated for what?
Matters unrelated to this case.
Terminated for what? Because he was taking money that he wasn't supposed to.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. The plaintiff says, and according to the receipts that she has, she made cash payments to your company, to this business associate that you had. On what date did you terminate him?
Would have been, I believe, August 27th. I don't have that information in front of me.
Right around the time that you repossessed her car for non-payment.
A couple weeks prior.
You do understand, Mr. Marr, that it's possible that the plaintiff made her payments to your partner in cash for which she received receipts, and your partner, whether knowing the history that you know about your partner, it's possible that he pocketed the money since it was in cash and didn't tell you about it.
My only concern with that is that even the plaintiff herself, until now, has not claimed to me to have paid that amount of money.
He's finishing. Okay.
She did claim to pay a larger amount than what was received at one point, and I asked her to generate receipts, and that was not something she had. Those have not been generated by the business. If you look at one of those on the third one, there's clear tampering. If you look at the lines and some of the ink, something's off there. Those were not produced by the business. The other issue is that since probably would not have been a time where the plaintiff had dealt with him much further than after the purchase. And so these dates during the transactions and supposed payments, or when I had encounters with her, Travis was not around. It was myself dealing with her, and sometimes another person that worked there.
Do you have pictures of the car, sir, when you repossessed it?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Because if Miss Sloan had paid all the money that she says she had paid, then she would have taken very good care of this car. I'd like to see pictures of the car when it was repossessed.
The vehicle wasn't discussed. I do
The car the whole time I had it. Please don't say nothing to me, because I just want you to be honest. You never put the car in my name. You told me you would report it stolen. Keep it real. Tell the truth.
What is this broken glass?
From the window.
Broken glass.
That was a good question. I have
the
no
window.
idea. All of the windows when we got the vehicle from the repossession company were intact. So I don't know if there was some sort of replacement or anything in the meantime. The car was, for some mysterious reason, full of glass, garbage, all kinds of other stuff. No idea what it was from, but I had to clean it up.
Okay.
Just a
so
second.
you say.
Is what you're telling me you have no idea where the car got trashed?
Well, it was while it was in her possession. When I got it back from the repossession company, the vehicle was in just...
To this Mr.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if you got the
Travis.
text that says, I have text of all accepting your payments with a loan from
Just a
Demetrius
second.
knowing.
Just a second. I don't have those, and I don't have him here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a strict repo agreement that she signed that she understands if she does not make her payments and she doesn't have insurance on the vehicle, that it would be repossessed.
Excuse me, you never put this car in my name.
You better stop.
And later today,
You say the damage that she caused exceeded her security deposit. She said there was no damage that was caused that exceeded security deposit. You just want to know.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Juanita Sloan says car dealership owner Dimitri Marr wrongfully repossessed her Nissan Altima. Dimitri's countersuing for an unpaid deposit, car payments, and for vandalizing his vehicle.
It is your statement that you paid this Travis person cash.
Cash.
And the only payment that you were missing was a $1,200 payment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why are you missing that payment?
He said that they were moving offices from one office to the small office, and that he will email me a receipt. I have that in text saying...
I'd like to see it.
Up there.
You have anything you want to tell me, sir?
No.
Good. If you don't have anything that you want to tell me, I suggest that you file a formal charge against your former business partner because you repossessed her car and you have to return her money. She says she paid $4,300 to your business partner. That seems to be verified by text messages.
May I see the evidence?
I'm no liar, Demetrius. Should have just called me. Just called me.
Travis's termination.
Excuse me, I never knew anything about that.
I don't care whether it was after or before Travis's termination.
She did not come to my business, had no contact with me during this time.
Don't answer him.
I had been trying to get in contact with her. She'd been delinquent for a long time, not to mention, even if she had paid the amount that she's claiming, and this is the issue, there's no record of her paying that amount, but even if she had, she would still be way past due, and I have a strict repo agreement that she signed that she understands if she does not make her payments and she doesn't have insurance on the vehicle, that it would be repossessed.
Bye, yeah.
The insurance that she gave us said that she never added us as lien holder.
Excuse me, you never put...
How far you're ahead, but you may not find yourself ahead. Can I see the insurance papers, please?
The grounds for repossession were beyond just her not settling her down payment, which I don't believe she did. These messages here are after this person was terminated. I don't know what his intent was.
That's what you owe.
Yep.
$4,300. And
So-
I suggest,
Your Honor,
that based upon those messages,
I have more
you
evidence,
file-
and there's also the matter of the counterclaim.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. I've rendered your counterclaim moot. You have to give her
Your Honor, she
$4,300.
came and assaulted me in September. She came and attacked my vehicle. I've got photographs of it.
$4,300.
I have a police report.
$4,300. That's what you owe her. We're done.
Your Honor, with all due respect.
One, of course, like I knew I was going to do when I came.
She's making false claims.
The truth always wins.
There's damage to my vehicles.
I hit his car, I did. I'm not going to lie about that.
She did not make full payment on the vehicle.
Make sure they put the car in your name, because he never put it in my name.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of King versus Avila. Step forward.
Michelle King is suing her former landlord, Helena Avila, for the return of a security deposit and punitive damages for withholding it. Helena's countersuing for damages to the home.
This is not a difficult case. Miss Avila, you are the landlord.
Yes, Your Honor.
You rented a house to Miss King. She was burst and flooded the house. That's not her fault. That's your fault. You understand that. That's why you have homeowners insurance.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I had to pay somebody to clean the house. I had to pay somebody to take the trash away.
All I want to see is the bill to take the trash away.
It's all in one bill.
Can I see that, Bird?
Sure.
Don't say anything. It doesn't look like you're losing, right?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Michelle King is suing her former landlord, Helena Avila, for the return of a security deposit and punitive damages for withholding it. Helena's countersuing.
The house was used for 5 years. Of course, the house has certain normal wear and tear, but you say the damage that she caused exceeded her security deposit. She said there was no damage that was caused that exceeded security deposit. You just want a new house after your house was flooded.
No, ma'am.
So what I want you to do is show me photographs of what you claim she owes you, because you have a counterclaim, over and above her $2,500 deposit, which you didn't return. So let's see the photographs. Those had better be all photographs.
Yes.
These had better be all photographs. Just for my own information, because there are two things. A lot of this is just dirt. Did you knock a closet door off?
No, ma'am.
What is this a picture of?
The stove.
Dirt. And this is trash that she put outside?
Correct.
That she put outside?
Correct.
And this?
That is a weed tree growing in the backyard.
And this?
That was a room that she had painted, one of the bedrooms for her son, that she had agreed she would pay for repainting when she left.
Just a second. Is this just a picture of a helmet on it?
There's another picture of the same room. It was painted a dark green and a dark gray, and then that sticker was put on there. None of those damages.
What is this? Okay, this is so easy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
None of that damage was caused by the water. All of this was outside of it. I had to pay to have the drywall redone. I had to pay somebody to clean the house. I had to pay somebody to take the trash away.
All I want to see is the bill to take the trash away.
Your Honor?
Shh. All I want to see is the bill to take the trash away.
It's all in one bill.
I'm not taking all in one bill because it's different things. Are you telling me one contractor did all the stuff?
Correct.
Can I see that, Bird?
Sure.
Oh, that would be interesting. Don't say anything. It doesn't look like it. Removal of debris left in front of the garage. Did you do that?
I put the debris out there. However, my neighbor and I, over a 3-week period, we removed the trash. And every Thursday, trash pickup day, they eliminated the trash. She did not take
all of it.
All of it.
Okay, well, that was $100 that I was willing to give her out of this list for $1,685. Did she return your security deposit?
No, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. Your counterclaim is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
Step out.
That damage that was caused had nothing to do with the water damage done to the house.
I'm very satisfied with the decision.
I had to pay other contractors to fix that. I'm victorious in it.
I knew Judge Judy would side with justice and prevail.
You parked your car, a car that you treasure.
Was his pride and joy dinged and dented?
He was on the ground just like this with his hand on my fender. I said, "What are you doing to my car?"
Do you see any scratch there?
Not really.
I get my car washed every day, Your Honor. I've got evidence here. I've got 1,300 car washes on my car.
I don't care.
This is Judge Judy.
Jeffrey Maddox is suing Gerald Zaleski for damaging his car while he was in the process of stealing the chrome off his vehicle.
Order. All rise. In the matter of Maddox versus Zaleski.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Judge. Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Zaleski, I have a couple of questions for you, sir.
Sure.
How old are you?
56.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a printer.
How long have you been a printer?
Over 30 years.
Do you own your own company or you work for somebody else?
I both own my own company and work for my brother at his company.
Have any kids?
One daughter.
How old?
29.
You get along?
Absolutely.
Do you rent or own your own house?
I own my own home.
And how long have you owned your own home?
93.
When was the last time, Mr. Zelensky, you were incarcerated?
When I was a juvenile.
How? Smoking weed?
Absolutely.
So it would be fair to say that since you were 17, you have not been arrested again?
Yes.
Do you know why I ask Mr. Zelensky all these questions, Mr. Maddox?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Do you want me to tell you, sir?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you. A man who's reached the age of 56 years old, who owns his own home, who has been working consistently in the same line of work for 30 years, who has one child with whom he has a reasonable relationship, and got busted once for smoking weed when he was 17, wouldn't be looking to steal your hubcaps. It's inconsistent with common sense you treasure. A 2003 Mercury Grand Marquis Ultimate Edition. And you parked your car, and when you returned to your car, you saw Mr. Zelinsky on his hands next to your car. His hand was on my fender, and it looked like he was trying to steal my chrome rims.
That's what I thought, Your Honor, when I wouldn't know. Why would I? His hand was on my fender. That's the only thing I could think of.
Now that I've given you Mr. Zelinsky's history, you would say that it was unlikely he was trying to steal your chrome rims. You would say that more likely than not, your initial reaction of him trying to steal your rims was wrong. That requires an answer.
Your Honor, all I can say to him.
What you swore to in your complaint was, sir, you thought he was trying to steal your chrome rims off your car.
Or the chrome off my wheel well.
He was trying to steal something from your
Yes.
car. That's what you thought.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to again ask the question that I posed to you before. Now knowing who Mr. Zelinsky is, which I will tell you I believe, that he is a 56-year-old man with a 29-year-old daughter,
Okay.
who has been in the same business for 30 years, works part-time for his brother, part-time in his own business, owns his own home, and was arrested once when he was a teenager for smoking weed, and not since. Do you think that your initial reaction...
Yeah, but I was just wondering why his hand was on my property.
Okay. Well, if the explanation that Mr. Zelinsky offered, because you said, what are you doing to my car? And then he yelled back, according to you, he cursed at you. And as he tried to pull himself up, he slipped.
His hand slipped.
And I noticed the massive ring on his right hand.
Correct.
And he continued to curse at me. I inspected where his hand was. I noticed a sizable 4-inch scratch on my car. I told him he scratched my car. So I called 911. When the officer arrived, Gerald lied and said he never touched my car. But when he saw them, spoke to him, and he explained to him that he had locked his keys in his car. He had a hider key under his car. He was going to put the hider key back under his car. Is that what you told the police?
That's correct, and this is the
That's the hider
right?
key
Yes.
that you were putting under the car. And he might have leveraged himself by touching your car. That's a possibility.
I saw it with my own eyes.
That's a possibility, that he touched your car while leveraging putting the car underneath. So since that's a possibility, sir, I'd like to see the scratch that you're talking about.
Sure.
This 4-inch scratch.
And I'd also like to submit this as evidence too. I'm a member of Bobby and Steve's VIP car wash club. I get my car washed.
Scratch that you
and that's my
ascribe.
car, how clean it is.
Scratch.
The scratch is right there.
I would like the plaintiff to take your pen
I don't
and
have
make
a
a
pen,
circle.
So I'm gonna need your pen.
You need my
For
pen.
change, I'm gonna need your pen. Thank you.
Have it. And make a circle around where he says the scratches.
It would be right here on this side.
I want to see it on the
Driver's
car.
side.
Yeah, I noticed he's kind of conveniently got the big dent that's in the top of his fender, not in that.
No, I just want to see.
Okay, I'm sorry, I understand.
Yes, sir. That I don't see anything here. I'm just telling you.
That's because it's far away.
Just a second. Well, this is your evidence. This is not my evidence. This is not Bird's evidence. Bird, your eyes are younger than mine, not by much. Do you see any scratch there?
Not really.
It's in the police report as well, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the police report, sir.
Yes.
And then I would like to see an estimate of what you think the defendant, if in fact
There's
he
the
did.
police report. Here's my evidence from the auto body shop that says that scratch on my car appears to be brand new. I took it to the auto body shop immediately after he scratched my car.
All right, the men were yelling at each other, and I told them to stay away from each other. And Maddox then showed me the mark, approximately 2 inches long, on the right front fender. And as I looked closer and felt the mark, I could not feel a scratch, and some of the mark rubbed off. I also observed that Maddox's vehicle near the mark had chipped paint and a dent that were not related. Maddox, however, was stating that he observed Zielinski bend down by his vehicle and that Zielinski grabbed Maddox's vehicle and pulled himself up on Maddox's vehicle and scratched it. Maddox stated that Zielinski had a ring on his finger, which he, under Zielinski's vehicle, he got on his knees to grab the box from underneath his car, which Zielinski demonstrated to me in the lot. Zielinski said when he got back up, he grabbed onto his own vehicle and may or may not have grabbed Maddox's vehicle, but if he did, he could not have scratched it like Maddox claimed. Zielinski also appeared to use his left hand on his own vehicle when he demonstrated how he pulled himself up. I took photographs of Maddox's vehicle and the claimed damage, which were uploaded into evidence. When I tried to explain to Maddox the situation was a civil one and the mark appeared to be able to be buffed out, he became upset, demanding a report. Maddox then started and that he was appearing to try to intimidate me. I explained that if he needed to contact Charles to complain about me, he could do so, and gave him my name.
Can I please say something, Your Honor, that's relevant to this right here? Just to let you know, the police that made that report, he made a biased report against me. That police officer is no longer working at that Cub store anymore. The owner of the Cub, I could give him all of my evidence. I came the next day, he looked at it and he said, there's only one way to rectify the situation. That police officer is not going to be able to work in the store anymore.
You think you're proud of yourself for that?
No.
Over this car that had a 2-inch scratch on it? You think you're very proud of the fact that you got a man fired over this nonsense?
I'm a member of Bobby and Steve's car wash. I get my car washed every day, Your Honor, and I towel drive it. I've got evidence here. I've got 1,300 car washes on my car.
I don't care. It's irrelevant. The only relevant thing is whether or not the defendant damaged your car.
I saw him do it.
Whether it was a... No, you didn't.
You didn't give me...
No, you didn't at all.
Can I please explain my situation?
No, you didn't. You said in your complaint you thought he was trying to steal the chrome off your car.
That's why I thought when his hand was on my fender, that's the only thing I could think of. Why would somebody's hand, Your Honor, be on my vehicle? Why would anybody's hand be on somebody else's vehicle? Explain how this happened. So can I show my side of how it happened?
30 seconds.
I was coming to my car. His car was facing this way. My car was facing this way. I came from behind the vehicle, my vehicle, ma'am, and he was on the ground just like this with his hand on my fender. I said, "What are you doing to my car?" And he grabbed my car just like that. And because I've got over 1,000 coats of wax on it, his hand slipped. He had a big ring on it, and it scratched my car, Your Honor.
Buff it out.
It won't.
Case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I saw him destroy my car.
It's about the way I thought it would go.
He slipped and he pulled himself up and he scratched my car. I saw it with my own eyes.
Kind of like he was here today, touching people's cars, if I in fact did, yes.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Burke versus Portillo. Step forward.
Julie Burke is suing her neighbor, Alexandria Portillo, for vet bills and lost wages due to a dog attack.
Miss Burke, how long have you lived on your property?
Since February 14th, 2016.
And you, Miss Portillo, how long have you lived on your property?
Since January of 2016.
And what kind of dogs did you have?
I have Akitas.
How many?
I have one now.
How many did you have?
2.
The plaintiff says that one of your dogs attacked her dog, this dog, I assume responsible for the vet bills. You said she has no proof that it was your dog.
Correct.
Is that your...
Well, on my behalf, I believe that there was no witnesses and
Well, what I'm not understanding, Ms. Portillo, is Ms. Burke had a conversation with you.
Correct.
And she told you she was walking her dog in her yard. Speak!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was walking her dog when your dog attacked her dog.
That's what she had told me, yes.
You know what that's called? A witness.
Correct.
That's a witness.
Burke says an Akita owned by neighbor Alexandria Portillo attacked her dog.
Okay, she had a conversation with you.
Right.
And in that conversation, she said to you, she was walking her dog in her yard when your dog attacked her dog.
Correct.
That's what she told you.
That's what she had told me, yes.
You know what that's called?
Well, witness, correct.
A witness.
Correct.
That's a witness. It may not be a stranger witness, but that's a witness. And you've been living next door to each other for 3 years. So she knows what your dogs look like, right? Rid of one of your dogs.
Well, I believe that...
I don't care what you believe. Either you think that she's lying about the cause of her dog's very serious injuries as a result of this attack. Because usually, do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How old are they?
14, 8, and 5.
Let's say a dog attacked your 5-year-old in your backyard, and you knew that that dog belonged to a neighbor, but you didn't like the other neighbor on the other side. Who would you say attacked your child?
Well, of course, the dog that attacked my child.
Right. Now, why would you think that Miss Burke would lie about the fact that a dog, which is very your dog, attacked hers?
Well, I'm not sure if she would lie about it, but I mean, living where we live, there's plenty of coyotes, and there's constant
Well, I
packs
know
of
there
them,
are coyotes,
and I believe
but she said it wasn't a coyote.
Right.
I know what a coyote looks like.
I wasn't there at the time. I happened to have my landlord come over in a hysterical type of, mood, so I wasn't really aware of what was going on at the time that this happened. So
when did you have a conversation with her?
It wasn't until a little bit after that.
So that now the landlord isn't hysterical at you anymore.
Correct.
Because you weren't supposed to have 2 Akitas.
Well, not that I wasn't allowed to have 2 Akitas. There was never an issue about me having Akitas on the property. A female Akita, I had to find her a home.
Why?
Because my landlord was afraid of getting into some kind of trouble like this.
Sued?
Correct.
So now you have homeowners insurance or renter's insurance. Does your renter's insurance talk about dogs?
Yes, it does.
And what does it say about dogs?
There's a certain amount of types of dogs that it does not cover or it does cover.
And is an Akita on that list?
Yes, it is.
That you're not supposed to.
Right.
If an Akita injures a person or a dog, you can't call your insurance company and say, I want to put in a claim through my homeowners. Now, a Chihuahua's not on that list, right?
Right.
Shih Tzu, right?
Correct.
You choose to have not 1, but 2 dogs that are on a list that has been determined to be constitutional for an insurance company to do, to say we will not insure these kinds of dogs because they have a history of aggression that is greater than the other 300 breeds of dogs that you can have. You got where I'm going?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What I said to somebody yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it to you, because you don't look like a bad person. You make a choice with regard to what kind of animal you select to have as a pet. Your children do not have that.
Real people. Judge Judy.
Julie Burke says an Akita owned by neighbor Alexandria Portillo attacked her dog.
Okay. How much were your vet bills?
$10,000.
You now have 1 Akita. You had 1 Akita that attacked another dog because she told you that she was walking her dog, your dog jumped over a fence, attacked hers. No question. She knows your dog. Landlord came over, your landlord was crazy because if your insurance doesn't pay, your landlord may be responsible.
Right.
Right. So you had to get rid of your dog.
Yes, I did.
But you can't get rid of your 3 children.
No. when I had first moved in, it was
that you looked up on your renter's insurance, and it specifically excludes any injury caused by an Akita, along with a list of other dogs that have a propensity more likely than other breeds to cause damage. All I'm telling you is, I know that this is a dog that you're not particularly attached to. You may like it, you may like animals, but this is a dog. I assume you like your 5-year-old.
Of course.
I assume you like your 5-year-old.
I love my kids, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure you do.
Absolutely.
I have a whole bunch of things that are plastered here about dogs on that list that have killed children, little children, 3, 4, 5 years old, one 4-year-old in Michigan last, somebody yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it to you because you don't look like a bad person. You make a choice with regard to what kind of animal you select to have as a pet. Your children do not have that choice.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
To me, it's very little difference if you have 3 children, and say you're a single mom, and you say, Vici, you know, I fell in love with this guy, but he's on the sex offender list. He says it was just a mistake that he made a couple of times, but he's cured now. Oh, but I'm in love with someone who is a registered sex offender moving into my house, at least until I'm really positive. And I don't know how you can be positive with that. I'm telling you, there's no difference with a dog that's on that list. It can turn on a dime. And if it turns on a dime with you, it could hurt you. It could kill you. Right. But if it turns on a dime on a 5-year-old that it's looking at in the eye, because they're at eye level, it'll kill that baby. And you'll never get over it. It'll ruin your life and the rest of your family's life. Just making a statement. Meanwhile, you owe her $5,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. I'm done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't believe that my dog would actually go over there and attack her dog.
Well, I saw this show. There's more than just a Judge Judy episode. There's a real message in this show.
Who threw the rock?
I don't know.
2 boys caught in a fib.
Whatever it is, it's not a big deal that it happened. It's just a big deal if you lie about it.
But who will fess up first?
His grandma said, you better tell the truth.
He threw the rock.
Well, he said he didn't.
I'm just telling you he did.
You seen him throw it?
I don't have to see him throw it. That's my job. That's what I do for 50 years.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Susan Corso is suing her neighbor, Keena Payton, for damage.
It's case number 69 on the calendar in the matter of Corso versus Payton.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Everybody have a seat.
Ms. Corso, it is your claim that the defendant's little boy, that's this little boy over here, damaged your car by throwing a rock.
Yes.
And you didn't see that?
No, I did not.
So I assume that the little boy who's sitting here, who also lives in your neighborhood.
Next door.
He came and told you that it had happened.
Actually, no one came and told me. I heard it, but my husband was ill, so I didn't go out. I
don't care.
I did go 2 days later, and
we happened to your car.
No.
There was a dent or something in your car.
Yes.
Did you notice it the same day?
No, I did not.
When you noticed something, it was at that time that you spoke to this young man.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this young man, and I will get to him in a second, told you that he saw the defendant's son throw a rock that hit your car.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then he tried to fix it.
Yes.
And he tried to fix it to make it better.
Yes.
And maybe it made it better, and maybe it didn't make it better. Mrs. Payton says her son never threw a rock at your car. Via next door?
Yes.
On what date did you allegedly see Mrs. Payton's son throw a rock at Miss Corso's car?
Sunday.
It was on a Sunday.
Yes.
And did you look?
It was a Thursday.
Thursday.
I don't want you to say anything to him. You're not the witness. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's my job to test his memory.
Okay.
You don't have to help him. It was on what time?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what month it was in?
No.
Do you remember what time of the day it was?
No.
Was it in the morning? Was it in the evening? Was it daytime or was it nighttime?
It was
in the middle between daytime and nighttime.
What's that?
Evening.
How old are you?
12.
Well, a 12-year-old knows time. You know whether...
Evening.
Where were you?
We were all in front of my yard.
Who was in front of your yard?
Me, Kyle, and this other girl named Jordan.
And the three of you have been playing for how long?
Not much.
What were you playing?
We weren't playing anything.
Why don't you tell me what you saw?
So this is what I saw. The girl...
Don't look over there. Look here.
The girl wrote Kyle's girlfriend on the rock.
Over here.
So on the rock, it said Kyle plus Madison, which I supposedly was his girlfriend. And he got mad, picked up the rock and threw it and hit her car.
Rock?
This girl, Jordan.
And was the rock that she wrote with the rock that he picked up, or was it a different rock?
It's the rock that she wrote with.
What did you say to him?
I didn't say anything to him.
Now, he threw the rock, and what happened when he threw the rock? Did you hear something, or did you see something?
It was a loud, I heard and saw, it was a loud bang, and there's like a big dent in the back.
In the back where?
Near the rear.
So what did you do?
We all ran.
Why did you run?
Because it made a loud bang.
Well, if it made a loud bang and you all ran, but you first stopped to look at the car.
We ran first, and then we came back to look at the car.
So first you ran?
Yeah.
And where did you run to?
Jordan's house.
And when did you come back by yourself?
I came back by myself.
And when you came back by yourself, is that when you looked at the car?
Yes.
And so, now, you didn't do anything.
Yes.
You ran away.
Yes.
Then you came back.
Yes.
You looked at the car.
Yes.
You saw a dent.
Yes.
And when you went inside to your house?
Yeah, I had to go inside.
Because?
Because my uncle saw the big dent in the back, so he called me in to go inside.
Do you live with your uncle?
No, he's visiting.
Who else was in the house?
Just my uncle.
Did you tell your uncle what happened?
Yes.
Right away?
Yes.
The same day?
Yeah.
Who else lives in the house with you?
My grandma and my brother and my sister.
Is your grandma out?
Yes.
And you live right next door?
Yes.
How many days later did you find out about this?
2 days.
2 days. And how did you find out about it 2 days later?
I was going out to take my husband back to the doctor.
You were going out?
I went out and to get in the driver's side and looked back and saw the big dent.
And then what did you do?
We went next door and asked Jake.
Just a second. Then you went next door. Was he inside his house or outside of his house?
He was inside.
So you knocked at the door?
Yes.
And who came to the door?
Jake and his grandmother.
And I'd like you to tell me the conversation that you had.
I told Jake, I said, we just found a big dent in our car. Do you know how it happened? And so Jake said...
He told you this story?
He came on and told us that story.
He told you this story. Did his grandmother say she already knew?
No, she didn't. She didn't say
she didn't?
one way or the other, no.
Well, but according to Jake, she already knew.
Later on...
According to Jake, she already knew.
She did.
She knew 2 days in advance. So she knew 2 days in advance because, according to Jake, he had told her. Why wouldn't she come over and tell you?
She explained that she knew we would be coming and knocking on her door any minute, and that as soon as we came knocking, he would tell us
that was
what
honest. That was honest. Not... First name?
Kyle.
You remember that day?
Yes.
Who threw the rock?
I don't know.
Well, there were only 3 of you there. You're a pretty smart kid. And according to him, all 3 of you sort of ran away after it was thrown. So don't look down here. Let's still look here. And let me try to explain to you. Whatever it is, it's not a big deal that it happened. It's just a big deal if you lie about it. Got it?
Yes.
Great. Who threw the rock?
I don't know.
Well, that I don't believe. How are you going to convince me that that's true? It's your job. Go down. He threw the rock.
Well, he said he didn't.
I'm just telling you he did.
You seen him throw it?
I don't have to see him throw it. That's my job. That's what I do for 50 years.
Okay.
I just looked in his eyes, and I'm telling you he threw the rock. It's not a big deal. Okay. It's not a big deal. Kids do that all the time. The big deal is for him not to tell the truth about it.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I don't necessarily believe him either.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
Because I'm not so sure that what happened is he tried to fix it.
Right.
He touched it before he showed you. That's what he told you, is that right?
Yes.
Do you know?
I wasn't there, no.
By the way, stand up over there. What did you use to try to fix it?
My hand.
Tell me how you did that.
I put my hand under the car and tried to
Banged
push
it?
No, I tried to push it out.
And did you?
A little bit.
Sit down. Ms. Corso, I don't necessarily believe either one of them, but I don't think you've sustained your burden of proof to me, which is even by a preponderance of the evidence that Miss Payton is responsible for your car. You got a ding in your car?
Yes.
You got a ding in your car? It happens. But I'm not satisfied that I can feel comfortable making Miss Payton pay for it. I don't know how much of the dent was caused by a 12-year-old to you, but her answer to you was, I knew you'd be knocking at my door. How long has she been your neighbor?
Probably 20 years.
Not a good lesson. We're done. Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, it was honest and fair.
My son said he didn't do it. I believe he didn't do it.
We tried to talk to him, but they wouldn't even give me their name, so.
It could have been settled, but because of the way she went about it, it was just overbearing.
Just be honest and take responsibility, and that's all we can hope for.
Kids will be kids.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Vardakis versus Adams, step forward, please.
25-year-old construction worker Joshua
Mr. Vardakis, it is your claim that the defendant, who I gather is a general contractor,
Yes, ma'am.
owes you for some painting work that you did for him. It appears from your complaint that you had done work painting, house painting.
Correct.
For him before, at least twice before, and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
paid him, and it was satisfactory. This was the third job, and the third job was for also a two-story structure. Is that correct?
It was a two-story structure, but he was only titled to...
It was a two-story
Yes, ma'am.
structure. And when was he supposed to start the job?
April 3rd.
And did he report to work on April 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he work for the day on April 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was he supposed to be paid per day?
$300 total for the job.
And how many days were you supposed to work on the job, sir?
I worked a total of 2.
How many hours?
8 hours that day. It was a full day.
And then on the 3rd?
On the 3rd was a half day. I spent about 4 hours there.
I don't like abouts.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He asks you for some money. You don't say to him, I don't owe you any money. You say to him, she's making me wait for my money because I have to get some glass fixed. Why didn't you pay him any money?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Construction worker Joshua Vardakis says his former employer, Wade Adams, didn't pay him for a painting job. Wade is counting.
Wasn't the day that I worked, no.
Were you supposed to work?
No, it was just April 3rd was the day that I came in. That's when I was available to be able to come in and finish the job.
That doesn't sound reasonable to me. I don't know why. It just doesn't make sense. You usually start a job and you finish it.
I'm responsible for a lot of other projects that goes on around Northeast Ohio.
Mr. Vardakis, in the arrangement that you made with Mr. Adams, when were you supposed to start the job?
The 1st.
And when you were supposed to finish it?
Whenever it got done.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened when you went into work and that you only worked half a day? Did you finish the job?
No, I had to come back the 4th and finish.
Did you come
completely.
back the 4th?
Yes. That was the last 4 hours I spent there.
When you left, proof that it was completed and that Mr. Adams knew it was completed, that he acknowledged that it was completed?
Not in the evidence, not directly, but I do have images. Me sending him the job. After a few days, we talked on the phone. Job was good. Everything was okay.
I'd like to see that.
I have the images of the job. This is me sending the photos of the job being done. This might be more than you really need.
Please don't give me more than I need.
Here, just this one. This is me sending pictures. That's some of the pictures out of all the pictures.
Is your
that I
name
sent
Steve?
No, ma'am. I'm Rusty.
Steve was not able to make it today, ma'am.
Well, I don't need...
It was not completed, ma'am.
How much did you pay him?
I didn't pay him nothing.
How much were you supposed to pay him?
$300.
You have photographs of what was not completed?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. Now, that's what you were supposed to get, correct?
No, I was supposed to get $600. That's what the job paid.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Just 1 second. Did you paint both floors, upstairs and down?
Not the upstairs, the basement. I painted the basement and the first floor. I lost the copy of that photo of the basement, but I do have it in my phone.
I'd like to see it. When did you first, also, while you're looking for that, when did you first make a demand for your money?
I gave them till the day that, oh yes.
Let me take a look.
Okay, this is where he started making his excuses on
May
why...
I please see, and now get me the picture that you were looking for.
Oh, yes. Here it is. And if you left swipe twice.
Why didn't you pay him?
Because it was not done.
Just a second. You talked to him on April 12th, and you don't say to him on April 12th. You don't say to him on April 12th, you didn't finish the job. What you're saying on April 12th is, man, I assume the owner is making me wait, so I wish I had the money, but I'll get it to you, but I have to put windows in. That doesn't say you didn't finish the job.
I have a trim, in the dining room needed hit, cocked around the top, in the basement rehit again. That was on April 4th. So I had to hire somebody else to come and finish the job.
What I'm asking you is on April 12th, he asks you for some money. You don't say to him, I don't owe you any money. You say to him, she's making me wait for my money because I have to get some glass fixed. I'll have to go through them on Monday. Okay, well, can I get paid something? I really need the money. That's on April 12th. Why didn't you pay him any money?
Because I don't pay none employees until the job's done, man.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your counterclaim is for defamation. What did he say about you that you think is law-worthy?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Construction worker Joshua Vardakis says his former employer, Wade Adams, didn't pay him for a painting job. Wade is countersuing for online defamation.
Now, what's the name of the person that you were doing this painting for?
Renee, but she works for Fame City. It's a realty company.
So you were doing a job for the real estate company?
Yes, ma'am.
How much did you charge them for the paint job in the house?
So the total job was $1,800.
What else did you do there?
We had to get it rent ready. We had to replace windows, replace some bathroom stuff, paint the upstairs, fix the front. Here's the picture of the invoice. Here's the rough estimate she signed.
I'd like to see that, Bert.
That's just labor. She buys the materials. Here's the invoice. This third job working with him started off on the bad foot, Your Honor. The first day with him and the other painter having a little scuffle.
I don't care. You have to pay him. You can't not pay the man.
I
You
agree.
can't not pay the man.
But it was not complete. I had to have somebody else come and finish it.
The somebody else is Steve, who's not here.
Great. He had ID issues.
Well, that's your problem. That isn't my problem. You have to pay him. And if you didn't pay him, you can have a legitimate dispute with him, which I'm more than prepared to look at if you have a dialogue in you, whether it's $300 or $600. $300 seems like a pretty low wage if he worked there 3 days.
No.
Or you actually worked there 2 days.
A total, yeah,
You worked a
16
total of
hours,
2
man
days.
hours.
My painters, I pay $150 a day, Your Honor. If he gets it done sooner, he still gets the $300. If not, 2 days, he'll still get the $300.
What was the other job that he did for you?
He painted in Worcester.
When?
Back in March.
How much were you paid for that job, sir?
That job, $250.
And what did that entail?
Painting a kitchen and a living room, just the walls.
I don't care.
Sorry.
If you got paid $250 in March, you're not getting paid $600 2 months later. Then I believe him that he pays his painters $150.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now,
we talked. I planned on. His wife was texting me, my wife. I was going to give him another chance. We have a bunch of other jobs. And I said, and he should have the text messages, so I'm trying to find mine.
I got it already.
I admitted I would pay him. The check, I said the check would be here between Wednesday and Friday. So we talked on the phone.
Why didn't you just do that? Then you should have done that. Now, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for defamation. What did he say about you for not paying him?
Oh, he's put on.
Just read me what he said. Did he say that nobody should work for you?
I'm the director of youth football. Started bashing us on youth football. Yeah, for 8, 9, 10-year-olds.
I don't understand what you're saying.
8, 9, 10-year-olds have nothing to do with it. He's just bashing us.
You have to listen to me. Look at me. I'm old. You have to speak slowly and clearly. What did he say about you that you think is law-worthy?
Saying I lie, I'm a thief, I'm a cheat.
You were a liar, a cheat, and a thief. You didn't pay him for his job. He's allowed to say that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He didn't finish the job. I had to hire another painter to come and do it.
At least I got some money out of the deal.
Him and my two he got on Facebook sites saying I'm a liar, a thief, a cheat.
I went after it.
I don't do this and do that. paying my employees. I treat them bad.
Nobody works for free. That's absolutely right.
No, I'm not ever going to hire them again.
I do too good of work to get paid nothing.